What's up, everybody? Today we're talking about Hidden Figures, starring Taraji P. Henson, Octavia Spencer, Janelle Monae, Kevin Cosner, and directed by Theodore Melphi.
So this movie is basically a historical drama about three black women who work for NASA.
Yeah, and basically they're working at NASA, and obviously being A, African American, and B, women, they have a lot of roadblocks and obstacles like kind of getting in their way because of that fact, and trying to move up within the ranks of NASA and kind of showing everybody kind of what they can do and that they are experts in their fields and they know what they're talking about.
So what do you think of the movie overall?
I thought it was pretty good. I thought there was a lot of heart to it. I liked each character. Each character was unique. Each character brought their own kind of flavor into the group as a whole. Obviously, the movie would focus on one of the characters more than the others, but I thought each character was pretty well fleshed out.
Yeah, I really liked the three different women. So the three women are Katherine G. Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mary Jackson. And it kind of just follows their contributions to the space program and to us getting into space.
Right.
But the main focus is on Katherine G. Johnson, or Taraji Henson's character, and her contribution. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed the three different characters. They all kind of had their own different personalities. Katherine's character is more kind of quiet and reserved. And then you have Dorothy Vaughan, who's kind of the director of the African American department within NASA.
Yeah, like the computing department.
Yeah.
This is before computers were an actual thing. This is where computers were an actual entire room-sized thing.
Yeah, and people were actually computers, not machines. So the women are actually the computers. And so Octavia Spencer's character, Dorothy Vaughan, is I don't want to say she's bossy, but she's kind of just speaks her mind. She's not afraid to say it how it is. And then you have Mary Jackson, played by Janelle Monae, who's kind of the fun character.
Firecracker.
The firecracker. She's the one that kind of brings a little bit of the comedy.
A little bit of spice and attitude.
Yeah.
In a good way.
In a good way, yeah, not in a negative way. And then, of course, you have Kevin Costner, who plays kind of the head person in the department
He's either the head person in the department or the director. I don't think he's the entire director of NASA per se, but he's definitely director of that particular department.
That department with Katherine G. Johnson's character. And I really liked Kevin Costner's character in this movie because for him, his goal was to get them to space.
Yeah, to accomplish the goal that they're setting out to accomplish, no matter what.
No matter what. And he is kind of one of the main characters that doesn't seem to care at all about your gender or your race. He just wants the smartest people.
Yep. The goal is all that matters.
The goal is all that matters. Getting to space is all that matters. And he doesn't have time for petty issues like race and gender.
I really like that aspect of it because it brought a bit of a different flair for this type of movie, like the civil rights type of movie, which was definitely a large part of this because of the fact that these women were trying to make it through despite the obstacles that they were obviously dealing with at that time.
Well, and that's one thing I really like about the movie is because typically you have a lot of these really historical drama movies that are really gritty and they show you the really ugly parts of our history that we don't typically, reminding ourselves about. And just these really hard to watch, gut-wrenching parts of history. And this movie was not that. It
was a really more or less refreshing take on that side of things, I suppose.
It still talks about the issues, but not in such a harsh and ugly way. It was more subtle. And I actually really like that about this movie because I don't think that all historical dramas about, racism and our history have to be so gritty and so gut-wrenching to watch.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of films dealing in that topic feel like they have to really push the boundaries of how bad these people were being treated. But in this movie, I'm glad that it kind of focused on what these women were accomplishing and the overall goal that they were setting out to do, as opposed to, and the civil rights thing was more of a kind of side element to that.
I loved everything about this movie. I was intrigued and engaged the whole time. I did never feel like they overdid it. I think the only thing that I felt like was missing was there was a little bit too much of the home life, even though there wasn't very much. It didn't
take on a little bit too much runtime of the movie.
Yeah, like I kind of feel like they just threw some of the home life stuff in there just to show us what was going on in the women's home life, and then went straight back to NASA. And it's like, either take it out or add more to it.
Right.
Don't just throw in like a few bits and pieces here that aren't really going to matter if you aren't going to flesh it out.
It was almost irrelevant, even though it was relevant to the characters' lives, and the story was supposed to be about these characters. I felt like it was almost a story, or the filmmakers were like, couldn't decide whether to make it about these characters or about the NASA story.
Yeah. And one other thing is Janelle Monae's character, Mary Jackson. I wanted a little bit more of her. I felt like she didn't get enough runtime in her story.
And one more negative that I kind of have was, in terms of the filmmaking, it's not really a negative. It was just it felt basic. It felt very basic. It didn't feel like it was really special in any way with the shot composition, the filmmaking in general, and especially with the musical choices and the mixing of the music. Because sometimes when a character would say something smart or like surprise some of the other people, which happened a lot, there was always this musical cue that to me really stood out, and I thought it was a little bit in your face. A lot of people wouldn't catch it, but to me it felt like, oh my god, this is too much.
Yeah, I didn't really pick up on that.
But. Yeah, or the musical cue was like too loud or something. But I mean, those scenes were all fair. They were good, but I just felt like the musical cues and some of the song choices, or maybe even if it was the volume, I'm not sure. But some of that kind of stuff was just a little bit, I don't know, basic. Didn't really stand out to me very much.
But I think overall the negatives are very few and far between.
Yeah, and they're not very
big.
Yeah, exactly. Not huge negatives.
Not huge negatives at all. Overall, the movie was really phenomenal. It was really engaging, and it really just made you feel good. It was really inspirational and just like genuinely a happy movie.
Yeah, it was definitely a feel-good movie, and I am really glad that they didn't take the civil rights stuff too far.
Yeah,
like a lot of movies do.
Because a lot of times you feel like those are like really heavy movies that you can't just pop in whenever you feel like watching a movie.
And those should definitely exist, but this movie didn't need that.
Yeah, this movie was nice because it's one of those, it's not so heavy. You can pop it in and it's just, it makes you feel good. It makes you laugh. It makes you cry. And it's just a genuinely happy movie.
Yeah, and it makes you happy for these characters and these women that are able to succeed despite their obstacles.
Yeah, so I really liked that this movie was a true story, but they still kept it really lighthearted and just really positive. Yeah, so overall I really enjoyed it. I would say it's a must-see.
I'd say it was pretty good. I wouldn't go as far as to say it was a must-see. Anyway, stay tuned on the channel for our spoiler review of the movie coming soon.